Can you get the most flavorful coffee at home? Can the easiest brewing method give you a good cup? Can you get both? Yes, you can. I'm a second-generation roast master and brewmaster. Coffee's been part of my life forever. And today, in this video, I want to show you what I believe is the easiest, most flavorful way to brew coffee. Even if you've been brewing for a while, you might hear something that helps you see coffee a little differently. Before we talk about brewing, we need to look at what flavorful actually means, because that word gets used a lot. But how you define it isn't necessarily how I do. A good cup of coffee always has balance. That part doesn't change. But how people experience balance, that's different. For some, it means clean acidity and clarity. For others, it's more body, more weight, maybe just enough bitterness to feel grounded. And for a lot of people, balance means something that they don't have to think about. Just something that feels right. Now let's talk about easy, because that word can go in a lot of direction. For some people, easy means automatic. Push a button, walk away. If you're not confident in your brewing skills yet, that probably does feel easier. But for me, easy means I get what I want in the most efficient way. No presets, no correcting for what a machine decides to do. I choose the beans I like, and I get the best out of them by watching how they are behaving as I brew. Just good beans, water, and the time to pay attention. That's the easiest and most reliable way for me. That's why I always come back to pour over. Not because it's traditional or craft focused, but because it gives me control without complication. But if that's not your style, or you want something more automated, keep watching. There are still ways to get a flavorful cup, even with a drip coffee maker. For me, pour over is the most efficient way to get the flavor I'm looking for, because I can see what's happening with the beans and I can adjust accordingly. I know what I want from the beans I choose, and with pour over, I can get there directly. There's no programming, no back and forth testing to correct what a machine decides to do. And the fact is, coffee beans keep changing. Even after roasting, they age. Same beans, same bag, but as time passes, the way they brew and taste starts to shift. Weather is never the same every day either. There's no way a fixed solution can give me the best result. At least not for me. It's the flexibility and direct control that makes it easy. If that kind of brewing speaks to you and you want to learn real pour-over skills, I teach a full course on Japanese style pour-over. I'll leave the link in the description for you. Now, if full manual control doesn't appeal to you, there are still ways to get a flavorful cup. A high-end drip coffee maker can get you close, as long as you are thoughtful about how you use it. The biggest limitation with machines is that once you hit the button, you can't adjust anything mid-brew. Some models let you change temperature or flow rate, but most don't. So instead of dialing in your brew to match the beans, you have to pick beans that work with the machine. And if you're getting flat flavor or bitterness that doesn't match what the bag promised, it might not be the roast. It might just be that the machine's doing too much of the deciding. That's why some manufacturers are now trying to design machines that simulate the pour-over process automatically. They're spending a lot of time and money trying to replicate something you can just do with a kettle and a little attention. I'm just saying. If you're using drip coffee maker and not quite getting the flavor you want, there are a few things you can still try. First, think about the beans. Some coffees respond better to fixed brew systems than others. And it might sound counterintuitive, but avoid freshly roasted beans. They need time to finish degassing after roast, and during those first few days, the flavor can shift dramatically. Try using beans that are a bit more stable. Even a slightly darker roast, you can learn how your machine brews in a more consistent way. You can also experiment with grind. Even small changes can affect flow and contact time, which means you might taste more clarity or less bitterness without changing anything else. And you can adjust your dose. Brew ratio won't change flavor directly, but it does affect strength, and that can change how the texture feels. It won't remove bitterness, but brewing thinner might make it feel a little less harsh. It won't create more body, but brewing stronger might make it seem fuller. Not everything needs to be fixed by changing the machine. Sometimes it's about finding the right balance for what the machine is already doing. And if you found this helpful, consider subscribing. I share insights like this every week. There's no single answer to what makes coffee flavorful. And there's no one method that works for everybody. But once you understand what you like, you start to see which tools help you get there and which ones get in the way. That's when brewing starts to feel easier because you are not chasing somebody else's recipe anymore. You are making decisions based on your own taste. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful coffee day.